Famine is the shortage of basic food that populations suffer. I also want to tell you that the laughter food, the food that you leave in the refrigerator until it decomposes, called so many life.
Prize-winning economist Amartya Sen commented that starvation is the characteristic of some people not having enough food to eat. It is not the characteristic of there not being enough food to eat.
People nowadays spend most of their income on food. Under stable conditions, they are only able to feed themselves and protect their family members from hunger. When food prices go up, strong families sometimes suffer from the need. They spend a little money for their children's studies. Therefore, many children and young people are left with two studies, consuming cheaper and less nutritious food. The food price inflation crisis is just the last tip of the slowly moving iceberg.
The OCDE, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, tells us that Mexico is the second country with the highest economic inequality. Do you know the poverty rate shows a strong correlation with general development and is higher in the south, southeast, and part of the center, among them Chiapas, Guerrero, Puebla, and Oaxaca. This is the biggest cause of hunger in Mexico. The largest group of people living in poverty are farmers in developing countries. They don't have land to grow enough food for self-consumption throughout the year, and the little income obtained from their sales is not enough to buy food once they are excited.
In Mexico and other countries, hunger is caused mainly by poverty, caused by lack of jobs or low wages. Hunger rate increases when the national or local economy falls. So once people lose their jobs and then they can find another. Despite improving the economy, there are some people who still have problems finding work.
Food shares in developing countries are very common. The most affected are farmers and their families, who depend on all resources to survive. And this is known as the hunger system, in which the meals are reduced to a single one a day, until in the end they end up without eating for days. Have you ever noticed that while you're listening, though this someone is starving?
Another cause of famine is global warming because it affects different arable geographic areas. In some of them, a slight increases in temperature will imply the loss of fresh water sources, desertification, and therefore soil degradation. Three vital factors that crops depend on. The change in climate could also favor the spread of health and with.
If the spring rains don't come, the wheat crop will be poor, and if the summer monsoon fails, the entire year's harvest can be lost.
Did you know that between now and 2015, the world population is projected to increase from 7,000 to 9.2 billion, which will require a 16% increase in the world population to an estimated 805 million people suffer from chronic hunger because they do not regularly get enough food to live an active life. 3. In Mexico, current malnutrition in urban areas is 10.1% and rural areas 19.9%.
Can you believe that in Mexico, chronic malnutrition in urban areas is 10.1% and in rural areas is 19.9%? And 1 out of 3 children suffers from chronic malnutrition in Mexico, but it's not yet compared to Venezuela, where the famine is worse. The areas where it's most observed is in the countryside and indigenous communities. Now, imagine that when Mexico represents 12% of the planet's biodiversity, the famine shouldn't exist, but that situation exists.
Economic access to food refers to people's ability to buy available food, determines the food pattern, and is considered the main cause on food and nutritional security tables. In other words, 7.4 million households in Mexico, 32% live seamlessly on food supply, income, spending stability, and diet quality. 25.7 million, 78% have problems in one of these areas, and 4.8 million, 15% are in serious condition in terms of food insecurity.
In these last 10 years, the sum of 1.2 people million in this situation has increased. Tabasco is one of the states with the most lack of food, with a percentage of 46.8%, surpassing Guerrero and Oaxaca. These are the states where food shortages have been reduced. These states are the ones that generate the largest amount of agricultural products in the country. However, they have distribution problems to the other states.
Famine is a problem created for the poverty. It results in many consequences regarding poor diet and poor nutrition. It's obvious that these consequences lead in various diseases. Focusing on the global problem of hunger, there are various diseases derived from the lack of food and nutrients. But the most worrying is the problem with the children and babies. In the first 5 years, it's essential a good nutrition for the development of brain cells such as neurons and the synapses. Its absence makes deficits to concentration, retention, and learning problems to turn for the poverty and after famine, making a cycle.
Every day, healthcare providers across the nation see the effects of hunger on health. Hungry people are 2.9 times more likely to be in poor health and have a higher likelihood of chronic conditions. They are also 2.45 times more likely to be obese as a result of poor nutrition. Newborns are 1.81 times more likely to be underweight, often leading to lifelong development and chronic conditions.
For decades, the number of hungry people had been declining. This isn't true anymore. Today, achieving the zero hungry goal by 2030 is becoming more challenging. More than 820 million people still do not have enough to eat. Hunger is increasing in many countries where economic growth is lagging, particularly in middle-income countries.
FAO is the United Nations intensing the international effort to end hunger, malnutrition, and poverty. Since its inception in 1945, FAO to work closer to the goal. FAO primary goal to eliminate hunger, but they is so high and pro and they will never be able to meet to go, and he is not the active participation to the society in this voice country, the poor farming families, fishermen, for toddlers, consumers, and many others. Next, we will present some description to the countries that reduce hunger in the country.
Cuba. Cuba has managed to reduce famine by implementing urban agriculture with many government programs that deliver the material to get their own food and ability to thrive in a new economy. Agriculture in that country is held by families in urban cooperatives that harvest around 1,090,000 tons of vegetables and employ more than 400,000 workers. It is a great example for other countries.
Australia has contributed to the establishment and implementation of international food safety standards, the protection of natural resources, and the maintenance of agriculture sustainability against climate change. This benefits the farmers of Australia and from all over the world and places world food production in a stronger position to respond to current and future challenges. Australia highlights the importance of increasing small farmers' access to market, improving productivity, sustainable use of resources, nutrition, and promoting effective governance, facilitating trade and private investment.
USA is the richest country in the world. It had to be on this list to not fight the hunger. FIU has been active in North America for more 70 years working together with the United States of America on programs designed to eradicate hunger for the planet. The United States of America has established itself as the largest contributor. The FAO budget with nearly 219 million through access contribution in voluntary contribution in 2018 alone. The food and agriculture sector ranking from forecasting to global food security as a solution to hunger eradication, making the USA one of the world's largest producers and the world's leading exporter.
Countries need to integrate food security and nutrition into broader efforts to reduce poverty and gender inequalities. Ending hunger in all forms of malnutrition by 2030 is an immense challenge, but with real political commitment, bolder action, and the right investments, zero hunger is still achievable.
Famine is a situation that has greatly affected our country. However, there are both international and national organizations that support to reduce its problem, such as
Mexican Food Banks. It's a non-profit society. It's made of 55 food banks. They rescue food to take it to families, communities, and institutions that need it. They help improve diet and nutrition. There are 144 partner companies, example, Natura, Soriana, Walmart, etc.
Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. Its main objective is to reduce hunger and malnutrition, foster community supporting food security, and ensuring up-to-date information is available on hunger and nutrition challenge and solutions. Helps create safe and efficient food systems that support smallholder agriculture and reduce poverty and hunger in rural areas.
This objective is to contribute to the social well-being of the agrarian subject in their rural location and promote their effective participation on conversion and rural development. The program has converged in the following 19 states.
The program will encourage farmers to create a agroforestry production system that combines production of traditional crops, conjunction with fruits and timber trees, and therapy helping to generate employment. And financial supporter is divided as well as in kind.
National Crusade Against Hunger (CNCH). It is a national social inclusion and welfare strategy. Its objective is to ensure the food security and nutrition of the 7.01 million of Mexicans who today live in extreme poverty. The CNCH objectives: the first one is zero hunger from proper food and nutrition. The second is eliminate acute child malnutrition and improve indicators of child weight and size.
Did you ever think that your waste could save lives? Yes, who would think that those leftovers that you could not eat or that fruit that you forgot in the refrigerator could save life? The BIS group has a proposal that helps to avoid food waste and create more food. That's great. The UDIN Center for Study for Sustainable Rural Development and Food Sovereignty says that Mexico wastes 34.7% of what it produces. Reducing the food loss and waste requires everyone's attention and actions.
Families with a hunger, a program of Happy Caritas, and the Social Union of Mexican Businessmen had the initiative to donate food pantries to families in Mexico who need food support while the economy is reactivated. Taking this into account, why would you add food waste to a basic pantry with food such as canned food, beans, rice, cereals, etc.? What is today you had delicious pasta accompanied by meatballs for lunch, but you could finish and instead of throwing it, you share it with some who didn't eat. You can share it. Didn't you know?
That meal that you did not finish can be frozen. Cooked eggs can keep for of 2 days. Once they are shared in container. Now imagine that inside of throwing away that food, we put in the food container that we have at home. We put it together with the basic pantry and we donate into an institutional or food bank in your community. There are groups of people who are in charge of taking the food to the food aisle center. We every day they prepare to the food to give it in the people in need.
When we make donations like this, 3 objectives are completed. For example, decrease food waste, help to reduce the production of food in aid centers, and try decrease the hunger. So now let's imagine that this proposal goes person to person. Maybe we'll wrap states and get Bidharma food aid centers be added, so that you can reduce a little your plate and feed a person. The day of tomorrow could be that the percentage of waste gone down, extra food production is safe, and combat the famine.
An idea that completes this action is those fruits that you bought are reaching to the scum. We don't make a small garden in that corner of your house so that you produce more of it reserved as fertilizer for another food avoiding waste. If you don't have the space in your house to create a garden and you want to help, don't worry, foundations like FIF of College Waste and promote agricultural innovation for increased organic food production, and with you keep using the idea of the BIS 8 group, and in the company of some foundation we can fight famine. Group BIS 8 proposed guidelines or rights to Charlie Rubeliro a ball is felt.
Together, let's fight hunger.